So we're now ready to do the next part of our wing. So we need to continue with these teardrop shapes. So I'm going to first do the inside teardrop shape and then the outside one. We will then continue to add this little dome with a little hole on the inside where we can put a rhinestone, and then we will complete the section of the design here in the same manner as we did at the top here. So again, we're working from the front of our pewter on our lino. So we're going to first do that little teardrop that connects to this big teardrop here. So I'm using a medium to a hard pressure on the front of my pewter on my lino, and I draw the outlines. And then we need to flatten, so we remove our lino. We place our pewter face up on the hard surface and we flatten. Then we can tidy up with the Teflon tool. And I'm tidying up all the edges around my design, not just on the area where I traced. So I always make sure that all the lines are nice and neat. So now we can do the second teardrop. Back onto the front of our pewter on our lino. And then we can flatten. And then we can tidy up again with the Teflon tool. So be very careful around these edges. They're getting very high and they're thinning out every time that we tidy up. Okay, so now we can move on to the next part. I want to create a little, I call them a little well for a rhinestone. It's this little circular shape. So I want the internal circle to be flat so that I can put a rhinestone in it. So it's like a donut. So in order to do that, I'm first going to draw in the inside circle. So on the front of my pewter on my lino, I draw in the inside pewter, the inside circle, and then I draw at the same time the outside circle. So there's no flattening process in between the two circles. On the other side, we do the same. We first draw in the inside circle, and then at the same time, we draw the outside circle, and then we remove our lino, and now only do we have to flatten. On my hard surface on the front, I'm first going to flatten on the outside of that external circle, and I'm pushing all of that height into that circle. And then I'm going to flatten on the other side as well. Now I'm not going to try and flatten that too much on the inside, just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my Teflon tool and I'm going to tidy up. And then we take the tip of the Teflon tool and we flatten the inside circle properly. So we do the same on the other side. First we flatten or tidy up the outside. and then we do the inside. So this created a nice little donut shape, but I want to lift up the ring of the donut on the center of the donut a little bit. So I'm going to turn my pewter upside down, and I'm going to place it on my lino. I'm not going to place it on my soft surface, because it's going to bend down too much and I'm going to lose a lot of my shape here. So I'm placing it on my lino, and with a medium pressure I'm going to draw in a detail line right at the center of that donut. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So right in the center of that donut, with a medium pressure, I draw in a detail line. Then we need to turn our pewter back to the front, and then we need to tidy up our edges again. So we remove our lino and we flatten with a paper stub around, and we tidy up. Now we can continue with the rest of our design. So we're first going to do the main teardrop, which is that first one. Then we can do the second one and the third one. And then before we do the overall, we need to add these little dots again from the back. So on the front of our pewter, on our lino, we do the main teardrop shape. And we can do the same on the other side. And then we need to flatten. So on our hard surface, we flatten from the front of our pewter. Now we can continue with the same process on the other two lines. Okay, so now we're on the last little bit. So we first need to do the little dots again from the back. So I'm just going to make me a little bit of a marker so that I can see where I need to do them from the back. So it's just a little bit of a dot. Then we need to turn our pewter upside down. So using again both hands to turn the pewter over. I'm using the ball and cup tool again on my lino on the back of my pewter, and I'm holding my pewter with my one hand because I've got a lot of height here that I don't want to press down. So by holding it a little bit up, I'm flattening this area a bit down, so I'm not going to lose a lot of this height when I press down. So I hold my pewter slightly up and then I press down, I turn it in a circular motion, and this is not a very hard pressure. Here we go. And now we can turn our pewter back to the front so that we can do the last outline. First we need to flatten that little circles. So we use the cup part and press down on the hard surface. Here we go. Now we can do the last outline. On the front of my pewter, on my lino, with a medium to a hard pressure, I can now do the overall outline of the entire shape. Again, I'm doing a medium to a hard pressure. I don't want to press straight through my pewter. Move our lino, and now we can flatten to lift up that entire section. Then we can tidy up. So you will notice that during this butterfly, I'm not using my metal ball tool a lot to tidy up. And the reason for that is because I've got so many high edges that I'm scared of using it too much that I thin it out too much. So I only define with the Teflon tool. Every here and there, I do use the metal ball tool when needed, but I don't use it a lot. So we'll do some final definition work once all of this is filled with beeswax. So that is the top part of our wings done.